Let's see the patch notes. All right, let's go over this. Aurelian Soul. At round end, if you level up if you have 20 plus total power in your field, goes to 25 plus. Honestly, a pretty big nerf to the ramp deck that we just played against because, I mean, a lot of others, the way they win this time, I don't even feel like is Aurelian Soul's level up. It's just the fact you have to play a 10/10 spell shield that invokes the card like every turn, like earlier than you're supposed to. But I guess this makes it so the deck doesn't like auto win certain matchups at the end game. So I just feel this nerf hurts a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but it definitely hurts. It hurts a little bit. It hurts more than the end game. Yeah, Trundle definitely needed a nerf more than Ace. But keep in mind, these patches are made 2 weeks ahead of time. 2 weeks ago, people weren't talking about Trundle the way I talk about him now. Like 2 weeks ago, people were like, Trundle's pretty good. But they weren't like, holy shit, Trundle's insane. Everyone was like, holy shit, Acel's insane. Like, now people are like, oh, okay, Trundle's obviously the best champ in the game. At least a lot of people think that. I think Trundle's the best champ in the game. Maybe it's Lee Sin now, I don't know, actually. But whatever, Trundle and Lee Sin are the best champs in the game, right? But 2 weeks ago, this was the talk of the town. Still really good. Honestly, only a slight nerf in my opinion. I really don't feel like... I think the biggest thing is that the ramp deck levels up a lot of time by having Trundle, Mind Splitter, Aurelian Soul, and that's 22 stats, right? But now you need 25 stats. So the whole Trundle, Mind Splitter, and Aurelian Soul thing isn't going to level them up before it would. Definitely a slight nerf. A lot of times they win just by playing it without even being leveled up, but it definitely nerfs the end game against a lot of the longer matchups like War Mothers and stuff. Alright, next. Radiant Guardian. I don't know if it's controversial, but I thought this card needed to be nerfed, like, for sure. I think this card was absolutely broken, personally. Not absolutely broken, but, like, it was, in my opinion, one of the most broken cards in the game. Definitely top 5. And it was pretty unhealthy for the game, I think, because a lot of hands, like, aggro and mid-range have against Radiant Guardian just can't beat her. It doesn't matter. They can have, like, 8 cards in hand, and they get soloed by Radiant Guardian. Like, if you open average as aggro or mid-range against Radiant Guardian, like, you get screwed. Like, it literally, like, invalidates the entire gameplay, like, in, like, the interaction part of the game a lot of the time, and it's just, like, I play it, and I instantly win if you don't have a hand that can deal with it. I'm just starting the patch. All I want to over Soul. I think Radiant's insane, and I think as a 4/5, she's still amazing. Like, the card is still a 3 of in the next set she's a 3 of, right? Like, if you're playing Lux, right, you're not cutting Radiant Guardian. You're playing 3 Radiant Guardian. Granted, she's a little bit weaker, but she's fair now. Like, she was clearly overtuned, at least in my mind. I know a lot of people think that, obviously, I don't know if it's controversial, but, like, most people think that she was pretty overtuned, and now she's fair. That's what patches should do. They should take cards that are too good and make them fair. Or take cards that aren't good enough and make them fair. And I think Radiant Guardian was too good. And I think she's not very healthy for the game overall because she's just auto-win against a lot of hand states, as I said. And I feel... Nerf Remembrance is actually pretty cool. And I feel that she's still a 3 of, and she's still really good. She's just 5-shot with lifesteal? I don't know. She's fine the way she is now, like 4/5. Like, this nerf is so reasonable, it's actually crazy. Like, a 4/5 tough lifesteal, like, that's very good, right? She seems very, very reasonable. So I feel like this was a great change, and I think that this made her a lot more fair. Why does it kill the Demacia, Matthew? It's the exact same thing, right? Like, that's what I don't understand. People have this weird thing with nerfs where if a card gets nerfed, they think it's, like, unplayable or something. Like, do you remember when Endur got nerfed and no one played Endur? For, like a month or two? Like, literally no one. Like, everyone just thought the deck was dead. It got changed 1 mana. Literally didn't change at all. And then 2 months into it, this dude hit rank 1 NA with Endur, and everyone's like, wait, why Endur's literally the exact same thing. It's still amazing. Then everyone started playing Endur again, and it became one of the best decks in the game again. And there was literally nothing that changed with the deck. Like, 7 to 6, it didn't really change much at all. It's the same thing with Radiant Guard. Or it's not exactly the same thing, but it could be similar. Where, like, she's still a 3 of in all the decks. It didn't really do that much. Like, people just think if a card is nerfed, they get this, like, idea in their mind. No, Warships actually is significantly worse, in my opinion, Jack. That's not the same. I definitely think that... Warships actually should be changed back, and it was a huge nerf that wasn't warranted. This is more similar to Endur to me, where I feel like they're both really good. See, the issue here... Or, I don't think there's an issue here. This is a great change. I think it's made the game a lot better and a lot healthier. Because this card's pretty unhealthy, right? This card's pretty unhealthy. for the, like, she's not that unhealthy, but she takes away so much interaction because she just beats a lot of, if your hand can't immediately deal with Radiant Guardian, which is a lot of average hands with aggro mid-range, they just lose. The thing here that's a bit crazy is they nerfed Aesol and Radiant Guardian. Now, these are played in the same deck, right? Lux Aesol, and this deck was already like, I mean, it's a top 5 deck in the game, right? But it didn't feel like it's definitively the best or anything. Maybe Pale Spell Nerf, you're right. The red hair kind of comes with it. But red hair, blue eyes, rarest combo in the world, will take it. These were both nerfed, and they're both in the same deck, and it piles up. You see what I'm saying? Like, it'd be one thing if they only nerf Radiant Guardian and only nerf Aesol. This was the more important nerf, in my opinion. I don't know, some would say this was, but this is two things. This is 2 things in one. Re-estimation, the last part, which will allow opposing units like Darius and Hecarim to make profitable attacks which on the board. I mean, sure, I guess. Like that. This isn't the Hecarim is not a part of this equation. This has nothing to do with Hecarim. Like, this is not the reason Hecarim is not being played. Like, it obviously is good versus Hecarim and it probably contributes, but like the scenarios where I see Radiant Guardian winning usually have nothing to do with Darius and Hecarim. But this is true though. This is a true statement. I mean, it's a true statement. Now we can play Hecarim Poggers. Oh, let's make a Harrowing deck today. I'm down to make a Harrowing deck today. All right. Anyways, these both. Last thing is that these both got nerfed and they're from the same deck, so this adds up. This was a very healthy nerf. This I think was, I don't know, but same deck. Inspiring Mentor. All right, let's talk about Inspiring Mentor because y'all kids, y'all new age kids might not know about Inspiring Mentor. Inspiring Mentor used to be the best one drop in the entire game, or if not, tied with Omen Hawk, whatever. That's not what he's being changed back to clarify. It's not at all what he's being changed back to. But it's just saying, people might not know that Inspiring Mentor used to be the best one drop in the game, or like one of them. He was OP as fuck. He was broken. But he used to get +1/+1 to ally in hand, okay? That's not what's happening here. All I'm saying is, I've heard T for 2 many times when I played in the beta, and this card is definitely a card that could go back in the meta. This card could come back right now. I think people are saying that Lee Sin Zed is looking to be the play. People have been messaging me that, saying, hey man, I mean, this is what I think, like, Lee Sin Zed is probably going to be the move. I've heard a lot of people say that, right? This card is good with Zed. I mean, it's good with, okay, I think it could be good with Taric. Honestly, giving Taric one more attack is pretty good, because his 4 health with tough is decent, right, for a 4-drop. But being a 2/4 is a bit weak, but being a 3/4 is a lot better. Free buff to Lee Sin. This is just a good card to have, because, like, people regularly in the Lee Sin deck play Eye of the Dragon. Like, if you don't have, like, Lee Sin, you have to put a lot of your buffs on Eye of the Dragon. And this could be good, making Eye of the Dragon a 1-mana 2/3 at someone's Dragonlings. And, like, I'm not saying this card's even going to be played at all. It honestly might not be played at all, because it's competing with spots for Gift Giver. But I'm just saying there is a world where it could be played now. I think any time a change happens to a card that was literally seeing 0 play to maybe seeing some play is a good change. Because I feel you don't want cards... The card sealed 0 play before, so like it's just better that it could maybe see play. Again, it's competing with spots like Gift Giver now. But it does seem good in those decks. Will it make the cut of the 40 cards? I don't know. Okay, so go picks, go picks, go picks. This card was trash. Now it could be decent. Could be decent. Who knows? I mean, I like it in Lulu decks because I think that it's cool that it lets you start leveling up Lulu from the very beginning, right? It's a 1-drop that does support, and I don't think any other 1-drop has support, so it's just nice to be consistently leveling up Lulu and like the silent or the support decks. Again, wasn't that great before, but I played it in Lulu Jinx because it's cool with Flame Chompers. If it's just 3 health, I have no clue. So this is a lot better. So that's pretty cool. Definitely just a direct buff. All right, Jack the Winner was a bit too good. I never talked about nerfing Jack because I didn't want to be like, oh, if a card's good, just nerf it. Because that's like, you know, I don't want to be. You don't want to be like just calling for every good card to get nerfed. But I internally thought that Jack should lose one health. I'm actually glad to see it did. I never really said it out loud because I didn't want to be like, oh wow, a good card, better nerf it. Because good cards should exist, but I did think Jack is a bit too good. It's kind of interesting that they thought the same thing. I'm cool with that. Are they trying to get special treatment? I have no idea. But yeah, this is a fair change. Card's still really good. I mean, this card's great, but it's a lot more fair. So yeah. Jack will still be played. Any deck that plays Jack will still play Jack. It'll be slightly worse, but that is just making the game more fair, right? Like, I don't think this is like gonna make people cut Jack from a deck. This is pretty much just the same thing, but more fair. Very good change. Very big fan. but you might see less Bilge Wire decks because Petty Officer nerf. This is big, guys. This is big. I think this is to no one's surprise, though. Like, whatsoever. Literally, this card was broken. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. Like, Petty Officer was broken. Straight up. It was insanely, like, the best 3-up in the game, like, debatably. It had so much value. I mean, a 3-2, it can summon, like, a 2-2. Like, summon all kinds of things. Like, Jack the occasional winner, yeah. At least Warship can block Petty now, yeah. So, Petty Officer used to originally be a 3-1, for anyone who didn't play back then. When it was first came out, this is literally what it was. They buffed it. It was seeing some play, but very little. At the time, people were playing it in only one deck. They were playing it in Thresh, Gameplay, and Cade Control. Like, it was good. I think Petty Officer's still pretty decent. Not like it was before, but let's keep in mind, new to the game, why is Petty Officer that broken? It just gets it's just a 3-2 that summons another, like, 2-2. Like, that's so much value. A card... So, like, imagine you're playing, like... It's literally good in every deck. In a mid-range deck, it controls the board down because it gives you 2 blockers for 1 unit. Or if you're playing aggro, it gives you 2 attackers for 1 unit. So it's just like good stats that gives you more stats. Like, other people are just playing it. So what happens is that, like, how much about House Spider? Because it's a 3-2. And it doesn't summon a 1-1. I mean, House Spider's good too, don't get me wrong. Pet Officer's just a way better version of House Spider. Because House Spider's a 2-2 that summons a 1-1. This is like a 3-2 that summoned, like, potentially a 2-2. Or better or worse, whatever. But point is, if you play Petty Officer, right? 3-2. And it gets a 2-2, and then your opponent plays a 3, say they play a 3-2, right? They're screwed, because you literally get free value. You get to block your 2-2 into their 2-2, or their 3-2, or if you attack, that you get a free 2-2 in. Like, it's literally you get a free card to the field. Like, that's amazing. Like, the trades will always be in your favor, because you always get a free card, and they don't get a free card. These are nerfs to Bilge, right? Pure RNG based, though? Yeah, I know, but even if you get a 2-1, that's all you need. Because a 2-1 can block a 3-2. It was really good, trust me. You'd see, if you just started playing, you'd see why very fast. Like, when your opponents can regularly out-tempoing you by playing an extra unit every, like, on 3, like, you're playing 1 unit on 3 and they're playing 2, like, regularly. Because this card's played all the time. It's, like, pretty hard to beat if you don't draw it. So anyways, alright, Bilge Nerfs, right? Let's look at what this nerfs. This nerfs, this is, people play this in TF Swain, but this is mostly a nerf to the MFGP aggro. So, one downside here is that aggro literally was, like, the worst it's ever been this set. There's one aggro deck in the entire game, and it's MFGP, and it's not the best deck. It was the only aggro deck in the top 5, or debatably top 5. So if you're taking out the aggro, like, this is a huge nerf to aggro. Like, you're not going to see MFGP anymore, probably. Like, you might sometimes, but, like, it's not going to be like that. So if aggro's getting nerfed like this, and they didn't touch War Mothers, like, aggro's effectively dead. Aggro's effectively dead right now. We'll see. People might innovate some stuff. We'll see. I'm not going to be able to do it because I don't think aggro's in a good spot right now. I don't want to put myself through that. But aggro's effectively the worst it's ever been now. It's the only time I've ever seen aggro truly dead. I think aggro's always been the weakest. Like, I think aggro's always been the weakest archetype. Out of aggro, mid-range, control, and combo, aggro's always been the weakest in my opinion in this game's history. We have scouts, so they nerf warships. Like, it's decent. It's like tier 2. I already thought scouts were tier 2 and they nerfed it. So, like, this is a really rough spot for aggro. So the MFGP got nerfed a lot, and then also Soraka's coming out, which people assume is going to have some healing support, which is going to make it even harder for aggro. So, like, aggro can't actually be dead. Why not? They're, like, basically dead, almost. Like, to me, if your best deck's a tier 2 deck, and, like, it's... I mean, you can say it's not dead, but whatever. Does aggro still play too? But discard aggro's not, and it's a tier 2 deck. Like, there's no, okay, let me put it this way. Let me just reword it. I won't say it's dead. I'm just going to say there is no tier 1 aggro deck in the entire game now. There's absolutely not one. No tier 1 aggro deck. Aggro is not tier 1. That's that. There's no tier 1 aggro deck. That's all. But, in other news, this nerfs TF Swain slightly. People have been asking for TF Swain nerfs for, like, an extremely long time. Fierce and Burn is in no way tier 1. No. But you can't just bump up the entire game, Matthew. Just around 1 Lee Sin. Like, Lee Sin being tier 0 doesn't make Fierce and Burn better, and it makes it worse, if anything. So it's like the opposite. Anyways, Petty Officer. Okay, so people have been asking for Twisted Fate Swain nerfs, like, literally for, like, 6 months or some shit. I think I know what the meta's going to be. It's not, like, a hot take. Like, I'm pretty sure anyone who's thought about it for, like, 10 minutes probably knows what the meta's going to be. But, yeah, this is let's talk about the Twisted Fate Sway nerf real quick. People have been asking for Twisted Fate Sway nerfs for like months, and they just never do it. They nerfed Yodel Grifter, they nerfed this. I mean, it's still probably one of the best decks. Like, it literally can't be worse than tier 2. Like, there's absolutely no way. It's probably still tier 1, honestly. Who knows? But this is the first real Twisted Fate Swain nerf we've ever gotten. I mean, people have been asking for Leviathan nerfs for, like, ever. And Riptide Rex nerfs for, like, ever. But we never got them. So this is the first real nerf to Twisted Fate Swain. So if people wanted that nerf, you got something. Alright. What's good, chat? You guys want to talk about this, or what? What do we say? What do you guys think, chat? I'll read the card. I'll read the change. Okay, so old text, give an ally spell shield this round. New text, grant, so permanent. Permanent, grant an ally +1/+1 and spell shield. I want to let you guys know this is being hotfixed in 2 weeks. Nothing to say about Bastion? Yeah, it doesn't change anything. No, I'm just kidding. So in case you guys didn't know, there was a tweet on Twitter that said they're probably going to hotfix Bastion in 2 weeks, which means they probably think this is way too good, and they're probably going to nerf it in 2 weeks back to something different. I mean, I don't know if it's going to... I mean, I assume they obviously want to buff Bastion, so whatever they change it to is going to be better than giving out a spell shield this round. I mean, maybe it's only going to be give. Maybe it'll cost 4. I don't know. Wait, why wait for 2 weeks to hotfix? Because you have to, like, it's not as simple as just putting things in the game. It costs, like, to put things through the Google Store and have a patch be downloaded, I'm pretty sure, like, it costs money or some shit. I don't know how it works. All I know is I'm pretty sure you can't just hotfix things like this first day. Plus, also, we don't even, it hasn't even happened yet. We don't even know what's going to really happen. I mean, we can assume what's going to happen, but... Alright, let's talk about Bastion. Alright. Let's look at, this is going to explain the meta and why Lee Sin's the best deck of the game, and it's not going to be close by any means. You ready? Okay. So let's look at the tier 1 decks right now, right? We got, like, Twisted Fate Swain, like, GPMF, or, you know, GP Twisted Fate, whatever. You got Lee Sin, you got War Mothers, and you got Trundle Aesol, okay? So let's look at which ones are nerfed. They nerfed Twisted Fate Swain, they nerfed MFGP, they nerfed the Lux Aesol, they nerfed the Trundle Aesol. They didn't nerf War Mothers, and they didn't nerf Lee Sin, okay? So the only 2 decks they didn't nerf were Lee Sin and Twisted Fate, or no, Lee Sin and War Mothers. So War Mothers and Lee, 2 decks that were nerfed, okay? But who wins between War Mothers and Lee? Lee does. Lee Sin destroys War Mothers because they run 3 Deny. Deny is very, very good versus War Mothers, okay? Amongst running, they can run like Willow Bunny and stuff, right? So Lee Sin beats War Mothers, alright? So it was already in a good spot. Then they buffed Bastion to be a bonkers card, alright? Like, absolutely bonkers, right? This card is, like, insanely good. So not only was Lee Sin the best poise in the entire meta, it also got buffed. And it got buffed again, which we'll go over in a bit, but it got buffed with Bastion. And Bastion is, like, the best deck. Or Lee Sin is, like, the best deck. Like, Lee Sin is, like, Bastion's best deck, right? Yeah, like, Shenfire is good, sure. But Lee Sin, Bastion's best deck is Lee Sin. This card is broken. Any deck that can utilize this Bastion, like, gets a huge buff. And Lee Sin's the best deck that can do it. And Lee Sin was already best poised in the meta from these nerf changes, right? Keep in mind, Lee Sin, can I explain why it's the best one to utilize it? If you Bastion Lee Sin, he can kill you in 1 turn. Look at the tier 1 decks and see which ones can use Bastion. It is Lee Sin. Lee Sin was the 3rd most played deck in the entire game, okay? The 3rd most played. Not saying it was the best, but it was the 3rd most played. Like, people entered the ladder with this deck and played it. It had the 3rd highest play rate. Now it is better poised in the meta. It got a huge buff with Bastion. Like, I mean, like, a huge buff with Bastion, right? So, know that I got that. So not only was it already, like, good, and I just went Bastion, and on top of this, it is the best poison in the meta because the other decks got nerfed, leaving the only unnerfed decks to be Lee Sin and War Mothers, but Lee Sin beats War Mothers in the head-to-head. So do you see? What's first most? First most was the GP Misfortune, or GP Twisted Fate. Or Swain Twisted Fate. It was by region. And then the second most was War Mothers. No, okay, so Lee Sin is the best positioned in the meta. It is the most buffed out of all the decks, and it was one of the only ones to dodge nerfs. So there are huge, like, Lee Sin is, like, literally looking like it is positioned to just destroy the whole meta. And I can't stress enough how good Bastion is. So it being the deck that can utilize Bastion the best, and one of the only decks that can utilize Bastion in the tier 1 decks currently, makes Lee Sin the best deck in the game by a long shot. Now, there are a few decks you might see. You might see Zed Lee Sin. People talking about Zed Lee Sin. People talking about Pure Lee Sin, like the one we've already been playing. People talking about Terror Lee Sin. because Taric gets buffed from Bastion too, because you can Bastion the Taric, and then you can do the whole Grant Taric, then onto Lee Sin thing. So yeah, so this meta is going to be very much so Lee Sin oriented. All right, so yeah, last thing to note, this is the very last thing, and then we're going to move on from Bastion. Grant and Ally plus on Spell Shield, this works well with Taric. They're trying to push Taric very hard, that's probably why they did this huge change. But I guess what they didn't consider, or maybe they did consider, is that people will literally just play Lee Sin, and this is 10 times more important because Lee Sin's broken and Taric's not broken. Like, why use Bastion on Taric to get the Grant to something else when you can just put on Lee Sin and, like, it's busted? Granted, you can play Taric Lee Sin, but, you know, Lee Sin's so much better than Taric that... Like, Lee Sin's so much better than Taric that this is Lee Sin. Cards the feature meta definer, and why is it Grandfather Romo? We'll get to that. Alright, let's move on. Cosmic Inspiration. Nerfed. You don't get the spell mana back. So this card wasn't a big problem for a lot of matchups, but the ones it was a problem in, it was game defining. Like if you got this in the mirror matches of a lot of matchups, you just won for free. Or not for free, but you just won. But you didn't lose much tempo because it refilled your spell mana. Now you lose tempo because you don't refill spell mana. It actually costs 7 instead of costing 7 and then giving 3 back. So this makes it so it's more of a commitment to use Cosmic Inspiration. Still a very good card, but it won't be as free now. You have a cost to it. You have to give up some tempo. It's still very good, but the thing is, it actually costs 7 now, right? So you're spending 7 whole mana for your turn to do this. Like, don't be wrong, it's still amazing, right? But it's more of, you're not trying to neuter cards or like gut them. You're just making them more fair. This is a more fair version of Cosmic Inspiration because it has more counterplay because you're sacrificing more tempo. Anyways, gone for the Rumo. Back at it again, but he's never actually back at it. That was the first time. Okay, so the issue of Grandfather Ramel. I know okay, I'll say positive things first. Instead of granting an ally +0/+4, he grants 2 allies +0/+4. Which is pretty good, actually. I already thought this card was kind of sleeper. But I only thought that because I thought it could target itself at first, and then I learned when the game came out it couldn't. So, I guess Alright, hear me out. The card's definitely better. It's definitely a good card. But the question we must propose, chat, is what deck does this go in? What deck can use this effect? What deck even runs this card? Like, I'm actually asking you guys, so I want to hear what you guys have to say. Like, other 8 mana cards are Infinite Mind Splitter, which is like obviously like a top tier card. Like Infinite Mind Splitter is like insane. So like I run it, okay, well in what deck? That's my question. Like the hardest puzzle piece I'm missing is what do you ask this in? Or what do you put this in? In my Warriors deck, because I don't care. But you're playing Woman of Targon? How big of a meme is Targon Survive? What's Targon Survive? Targon Foe survive damage units. I honestly have never seen that deck, so I don't know. I mean, I can't answer that. I mean, maybe it's not a meme. But okay, the biggest question is I don't know what this goes in. Someone figures it out. Make sure you get back to me, bro. Make sure you get back to me, but definitely got buffed. Alright, so now, there's a lot to talk about this card. It costed 3, silence a unit this round, create a fleeting hush in hand. Now it says silence a unit this round, create a fleeting hush in hand that costs 1 more. You guys following me? Are you guys following me? Silence a unit this round, create a fleeting hush in hand, right? Now it's silence unit, create a fleeting hush in hand that costs 1 more, so that it increases. But let's defer to the text. We decided to ready another change for next patch 1.12. So this is 1.11 for reference. So the next patch coming out, like literally the next one. Yeah, I know, I'm about to go into that. They're doing another change. We'll remove Hush's repeatable aspect entirely and reduce its cost. Alright, so this is only a temporary solution. They're going to silence a unit, make it cost 1 more, but they're actually changing it again. I'm assuming they're going to change it to cost 2, but it doesn't give you another Hush in hand. What do you guys think about that? I want to hear what you guys have to think about that. Do you guys think that that's a good change, making it cost 2 and then it doesn't give you another one? Because they probably thought of the change like when the patch was already made. They had to make the patch 2 weeks ahead of time. Temporary champion purifies possibly better. Hopefully the game, but honestly just delete the card. Yeah, that'd be great. They can't delete the card because apparently like part of the target's identity is supposed to be silencing. I know we wish it wasn't, but it is, unfortunately. So, like, and I guess Soraka is supposed to silence things and stuff. You guys don't think it's going to be played? So wait, my question to you guys is, do you think that if it was 2 mana, Hush, but it didn't add another version to your hand, do you think it'd be worse or better? You're cool with it? You guys think that's more fair or not as fair? Depends on the meta. Yeah, I feel like 2-mana Hush still gets played. Alright, there's that. Next, Mountain Goat. Alright, this card is actually like insanely good. You will be seeing this card like in 3-ofs, like in a shit ton of Targon decks. Like this card already had potential as a 3-1, but it was so close to being good. But obviously, 1 defense, I mean, you just get shit on by everything. Make it rain, Violent Feast, whatever. Now it's a 3-2. Like, this card's amazing. Because it's a 3-2, 2-drop, right? Which is, you know, it's good for 2-drop, right? Most 2-drops are around that. But if it trades with something, it gives you a gem. So it's as simple as you attack with it, and they're forced to trade with you. Because if they don't, like, let's say they play Eye of the Dragon on 2, right? And you play this, and they can't block it, then you just get multiple gems. You just strike twice. But even if they can block it with like a simple 2-3 or 3-2 and trade, you still win the trade because you traded 1 card for 1 card, but you get a free gem. I'm just saying, bro. So yeah, this is like very good card. When they said they were gonna buff Taric followers, I did kind of think Goat, but I thought it'd be a Goat and Sojourners. But it wasn't Goat and Sojourners, it was Goat and Bastion. So like this is very good. You will see this as probably a 3-of in the Lee Sin decks. You will probably see this as a 3-of in a lot of decks. Honestly, this is just a generically good 2-drop. I was thinking about putting this in Nightfall. Like, I know people keep saying, oh, you're gonna put Bastion in Nightfall, right? I honestly don't think Bastion fits that well of a role in Nightfall. Like, it might be added in Nightfall because it's so good that it doesn't even matter. Because it's literally just like an overpowered card now. But it doesn't actually fit. But Mountain Goat could fit because it's just a generic 3-2 that lets you play a card on 2 with, like, I haven't committed to anything, like Nightfall-y, but that it gives you a Nightfall activator. And I just feel this card is so well-rounded. I mean, it's as simple as it's a 3-2 that strikes to put a card in your hand. And you can discard the card for Spacey Sketcher, you can... gems, they get value by themselves, I mean. Mountain Goat is a 3-of in, like, a lot of Targon decks. I don't know if I say most Targon decks, but this would be a commonly played meta card, like, you'll see all the time now. So expect the Goat to be like very popular. Alright, one more thing I want to go over. Alright, this lab sounds sick, I'm going to play it. I'm definitely going to play this lab. Our first ever single player lab. It's like you pick either Leona or Diana. We're picking Diana. Okay, I'll play both. You choose a passive ability. I don't know what the fuck these are. And then you like play against like AI decks, but of like powerful like enemies. It's like a boss battle story mode, and every time you beat them, so they get increasingly harder. So it's like fun, and then every time you beat them, you draft reinforcements. So I guess you get to like add cards to your deck. This is like actually sick as fuck because this game doesn't have a 1-player mode, and I just think this idea looks really fun. I would actually enjoy this being like I've always liked this. I've always liked this whole like you play an enemy, and then if you win, you get stronger. You reinforce them like. Has anyone played My Girlfriend Will Love This? We get you have a girlfriend. Just kidding. Has anyone played Battle Factory in Pokemon where it's like you have you get 3 rental Pokemon and then you battle like 3 other Pokemon, and if you win you get to take one of theirs and put it on your team? Or like it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! In the show where if you win you steal their rarest card. It's like that. And like it's just cool because like if you I don't know, I like the whole like if you win you get reinforcements. Yeah, it's just pretty cool. And you get to pick light or dark. I don't know. This is a really good idea. The whole thing seems cool. I like the deck choice, the passive, and make it stronger. It's also not just one game. Like one thing about labs, I do like the labs, but it kind of just feels like there's no point to them a lot of time because like they are fun, but you don't get an icon or anything for doing well in them. It's just one and done. But this, what's up, Aeon? Yo, what's up? This is just really cool. It makes like you feel like you're actually in like a story that's progressing, like an actual story mode, an actual 1-player mode. So pretty dope. Alright, let's go over the changes like real fucking quick, and then let's play like some meme decks on EU. Before we play tomorrow, slight nerf, but definitely nerfs Acel ramp more than most other decks because they get early until earlier, and if they level them up, they win. And if they don't, they usually win, but there's usually more of a chance. Radiant Guardian, fair nerf, deserved. Still good. Spike Mentor might see play, could be good in Lee Center's at decks. Pin the new Guardian. I'm gonna keep the Cosmos dog. I like the Cosmos dog. Picks probably won't change my Picks will see more play. Overall, better card. These are both buffs to cards that were not played whatsoever. Very healthy. Very good. Jack the Winner. Pretty reasonable nerf. Nerfs aggro. Big thing to note though is in Pafser, they nerf aggro, but there's no tier 1 aggro deck in the whole game. This is probably the worst aggro is going to ever be, hopefully. Or it's the worst it's been in history now, I think. Like, aggro is borderline unplayable, I feel. There was only one aggro deck in the meta, and it's MFGP, and they nerfed 2 cards from it, so... And we're in a control meta, so it's just... this Anstalk is coming out. I mean, to be fair, Noxus and Bilge haven't got their cards yet, so they could be on the come-up when they get their cards, but right now, aggro is probably the weakest they've ever been. Petty nerfs are nerfs aggro, nerfs MGP, nerfs GP, Twisted Fate. Definitely nerfs Twisted Fate Swain, one of the only nerfs Twisted Fate Swains I've ever seen, so that's fair. Oh, it's alright, so I'll just give me the deck, I'll look at it later. Bastion, broken, Lee Sin's be the best deck in the game. Give me hotfix in 2 weeks, probably. Cosmic Inspiration, more fair. Yeah, Make It Rain counters it. Great Father Mill, a lot better. Don't know what deck it's going to go in, but I'm excited to see what people find. Hush, nerf slightly, gonna be changed completely though. Next patch. Mountain Goat, 3 of, like, literally gonna be a standard card. Like, this card is gonna be seen everywhere. This card is good. This card is gonna be popular. This is gonna be a regular card in the meta. Lab is sick.